Hey, welcome back to ABTG. Today, we're not reviewing a movie or a TV show specifically. I've been watching new stuff, yes, but I don't want to talk about them. I want to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time. It's also one of the franchises that I despise the most because of what they've done with it.
Jack Sparrow.
And I'm not one of the people that hate the fourth one. It's more the fifth. Oh my god. Anyway, let's get into this. I need to talk about it because Pirates is in the news. Like every 2 weeks, I see a new article or a new something, a new this, a new that. So let's get into it. For starters, the article that has sparked me and motivated me, pushed me over the line to actually make this video is something called, I'm reading it here on Dev Discourse. The tagline is, Pirates of the Caribbean 6, Disney wants movie to make fun of Jack Sparrow. Oh my god. Here we go. Putting aside all of the Johnny Depp real world things, let's just for starters talk about Jack Sparrow and I suppose the connection to the franchise, you know, between that character and the story. Jack Sparrow isn't necessary for Pirates of the Caribbean to continue on. I've seen a lot of people kind of get mad about the fact that Disney wants to proceed without Jack Sparrow. I think that's fine. I think it's a good move. Jack Sparrow has had plenty of screen time. At this point, his story and the consistency, the storytelling is becoming really convoluted. How old is he supposed to be? There's just so many errors now going into, his story. But more than that, I think it's time for Pirates of the Caribbean to actually get a full-fledged reboot. Not a soft reboot, not a kind of, we're gonna go in a different direction, but it's still kind of connected to the other films. I don't think that's a wise decision. I think Disney should be bold as fuck.
Do it! Just do it!
Now here's the thing. When Pirates of the Caribbean came out, it was in this particular era, this peculiar era, where Disney was always looking for that kind of next blockbuster franchise that could be family friendly and that could, I suppose, motivate everyone to go see these things during the summer or whatever it is. But that era is kind of dead. You know what I mean? Like, following Pirates of the Caribbean, they tried to do these things with, like, Lone Ranger. That failed. There was the John Carter, which I think is actually a very fun movie. I love the end of it. Anyway, that era is gone. Because now Disney owns and is pumping out two huge family-friendly franchises. Or shared universes. And they don't need pirates or any of these John Carters or whatever it is. They have the MCU, and they have Star Wars. If you have Star Wars and you're pumping that shit out for kids, teens, and adults across the world, and you're doing the same thing with the MCU, which is clearly never going to become an R-rated franchise. I feel like maybe the Multiverse of Madness is going to, be the most kind of creepy, maybe scary vibe that we're going to get. So if you have all of that and all of these powerhouse movies and franchises, just you pumping them out, making so much money, don't do that with Pirates anymore. Okay? Reboot Pirates. Get rid of the inconsistent, now flawed story that Pirates has become. Reboot it completely and make it R-rated. That's right. Make it a hard R and make it just terrifying fantasy. Because we don't have fantasy anymore. Like maybe The Witcher kinda counts. We still haven't got our Middle-earth show coming out on Amazon. No one really watches Carnival Row and no one gives a shit. I would make Pirates of the Caribbean become like a hard R. Not so much for the tits or the dicks or the blood or the gore. Yes, that can be a part of it. I guess you could show a more realistic rendition of what Tortuga might have been, but mainly so that you can really push the kind of horror fantasy aspect of the franchise. Imagine if like Salazar from the fifth one was pushed to an extent, or even Davy Jones was pushed to an extent where they were terrifying. You know what I mean? Because they would be. Real people faced with a freaking squid face would be terrified.
Do you fear death?
Not only that, but I think rebooting the franchise would enable them to go in like different directions, storytelling wise. The problem is, in the very first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, we're already seeing the downfall, the end of piracy and what have you, and it's like, how long can the end of piracy be a theme in these movies? So take it back to like the golden age of piracy in this fantasy universe. So take it back to like the beginnings of piracy, and here's where things get interesting. Yes, you can cast a female lead actor. Should it be Karen Gillan? I don't know. I would love that. I think it would be great. She's cool, but I have a different idea. Have you ever heard of, and forgive my pronunciation, Chung Yi-sao? Now, you probably have. If you haven't, I would definitely suggest looking her up. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there explaining the extent of her badassness. And there's also a lot of articles online. There's a Wikipedia page, a whole bunch of things. She's essentially the Chinese pirate queen, or she was the Chinese pirate queen. Now, in an age where the Chinese market for the film industry has become one of the biggest and most exploding markets, Disney wants that China money, everyone wants that China money. I think it would be perfect, just perfect, to go with this character. Of course, it wouldn't be a biopic of any kind. We're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean. There'd still be the fantasy aspects, there'd still be the horror aspects, there'd still be that adventure aspect. So it would be kind of like a fictionalized version of the Pirate Queen, but it would be so cool to see that. Essentially, Chung Yi-sao was one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful pirate in the Chinese seas. But what makes her so cool, you know, other from the fact that she was like this strong badass lady, is that she had these sets of rules and laws. You know what I mean? She made sure that there was no sexual harassment or rape toward women. She made sure that they were liberating slaves. She was kind of an activist in some sense, and she was so powerful, and she had so many people following her, that in the end, when she ultimately quit piracy, her and her pirates were treated by the Chinese government as like another country entirely. All of these pirates, they were granted, I think, from what I understand and from what I remember, because I read this a while back now, they were all granted pardons. They were, told that they could come back to the land and work. It was amazing. It's so cool. She was the commander at one point of a pirate confederation that was comprised of over 400 ships. She led over 40,000 people. There's like 40 to 60,000 people. Yo, she was crazy. And that is so cool. And I think that is probably one of the best ideas that Pirates of the Caribbean could go on. Also, I got to admit that Sao Feng, is one of my favorite pirate characters. And I would love to see like a younger version of him. Just Singapore, and the concept of Singapore in Pirates was really cool. Imagine that as like just horrific R-rated shit. How cool would that be? Disney, give us a franchise for the adults. Not that adults can't watch the MCU, that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, like, give us something more gritty, I guess. That's my idea for where to take Pirates of the Caribbean next. Of course, that's just like the base idea for maybe the first film. A completely expanding and expandable shared universe, or just franchise, is completely feasible with something as complex and as intricate as Pirates of the Caribbean. There's no need to just focus on this character and these adventures. I mean, you can do things all around the world. And it's fictional and it's fantasy. You can have fun. You can do like, I don't give a fuck. You can make like Aztec pirates. You can go all around the world, explore all of these different continents, all of these different cultures, and create pirates without going into, I suppose, racial stereotypes, that kind of stuff. But you can make pirate fleets based on these various cultures. I think that would be really, really cool. But yes, it would have to be a reboot. Because at this point, I think Pirates has kind of overstayed its welcome. I hate to say that, because I'm a big fan. And you know what? I like the fourth one. I know I'm not supposed to, but on Stranger Tides is a solid enough movie. Of course, it's the villains. The villains in Pirates are really what kind of carry the franchise.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
It's just that at this point, The history of Jack Sparrow and the history of the events of Pirates of the Caribbean are being, I suppose, a bit muddled up as each film comes out. And consistency isn't, the strong point or the strong suit of Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, the Eye that kept on coming out became one of the 9 pieces of 8. It was kind of added in later, and that happens all the time. But just the fact that it was supposed to be Tiadama that gave Jack the compass, which is this very important part of the character, and then in the 5th one they just invent some random shit that he took the compass from some rando captain that we've never seen before. I don't know, it's just it gets a bit annoying the way they do that. Things like the Trident of Poseidon that can take away all of the curses of the sea, and then Will Turner is no longer cursed. It's like, that wasn't exactly a curse. What counts as a curse? What happened to Will Turner was something quite different. And even in that final scene, if it took away all of the curses of the sea, then why does Davy Jones still have his tentacles? I don't know. Reboot it. Bring back characters that we love. Yes, I mean, for the first maybe few films, do new characters, do new stories, try to engage us in this new universe that you're creating. But then, yes, bring back, I mean, it's very hard to recast these people because, like, my God, the actors just, they own their roles. But yeah, I think they could bring back legacy characters in this new universe. I'm sorry for rambling on like this. My conclusion is, yes, I absolutely want Pirates of the Caribbean to live on as a franchise. Do I think it should continue in its current state? No. I think we should have a reboot. I think that it should be a hard R-rated adult series of films. I think that we should do horror fantasy. It should be female-led with a woman of color. Should it make fun of Jack Sparrow? No. Should Jack Sparrow be in it? No. Jack Sparrow and the first, dare I say, Pirates of the Caribbean franchise will forever be treasured by millions of people. Let it be. I don't think it's good to constantly try and revisit that, and just having the movie make fun of Jack Sparrow. I don't even know what that means. But if what they're trying to say is they want to kind of thematically point fingers or try to be meta about how Jack Sparrow was, or if they plan on making literal jokes like, ha ha, remember Sparrow? I don't know. We don't need that. No one needs that, alright? Make your own characters, new characters. Give them their own spotlight and their own stories. And yeah, I think the bloody Chinese pirate queen would be a boss way to go, for starters. And then, expand. Expand or die. Alright, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry about all the Pirates of the Caribbean spoilers, even though I didn't get into it too much. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time that I have just some random thoughts that I want to share.